Hello, my name is Joe, and welcome to my channel, Joe's Book and Movie Corner. I was tagged by Greg from Ghost Readers in the Sky to do a tag, and this is the Hitchhiker's Guide tag created by Gareth at Books, Songs, and Other Magic. And before I start, I just want to mention I have never read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, so at some point I will have to correct that. But let's go ahead and get started. Number 1, Demolishing Your House. What book would you look for first to save from the demolition? So I wanted to say, I have a couple of Bibles. One was given to me by my grandmother. Another one is and I should have brought it down to show you, but another one is my study Bible when I was in high school, when I went to Catholic school. But honestly, if I'm being honest, what I would grab is honestly the stack of books that's next to me on my nightside or my bedside table. So what I'm currently reading now, so it's 3 things that I would actually grab. It's An Army at Dawn by Rick Atkinson. I'm currently reading that, as well as Dracula by Bram Stoker. And then the third item is simply my Kindle. I know that's not an exciting response. And honestly, if I had to grab one thing, it would be my Kindle. The Kindle's the best way to read a book. It's so convenient. So that's what I would grab. And you can get almost anything on the Kindle. Number 2, Vogon? I don't know the reference, I'm sorry. Vogon Poetry. Quote, a poet, a line of poetry, or a lyric that you love. So I actually have 3 things. I'm not much of a poetry fan, but I do have 3 things that I wanted to call out. The first one is Ecclesiastes from mentioning the Bible. This is the book of Ecclesiastes from the Bible. Just the whole beginning introduction to Ecclesiastes is really good. If you've never read it, I strongly encourage to go find a Bible, whatever translation, and just read it. And then I'm just finding this online. This is the New International Version. Okay, so the classic line from Ecclesiastes that if you don't know where it comes from, here it is. It's from Ecclesiastes. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. So just the whole introduction to Ecclesiastes is just universal truth after universal truth. The other thing, and this may get me in trouble, so I apologize in advance, definitely not a universal truth, right? It would be bad to say that. But this is just Battle of the Sexes here. This is Lord Byron. And it's the last 2 lines of his poem, To Woman. Again, this may get me in trouble. But the last 2 lines in his poem, To Woman, is, this record will forever stand. Woman, thy vows are traced in sand. I find that hilarious. The whole poem is really funny. Again, Battle of the Sexes here. It's a real short read. I recommend it. But again, is it the kind of thing you're supposed to say? Is it polite to say? I don't know. But it amuses me. And then the last thing I want to call out, again, not a big poetry fan, but I do like this, and it is from Tolkien, from The Hobbit, and it's from the first chapter. When I was younger, I did not really like all the songs in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, but now as I'm older, I really appreciate them. So in my most recent reading of The Hobbit, I read the whole book out loud. And in chapter 1, there's the whole song, the dwarves are showing up to Bilbo's house. They're a nuisance, they're a bother, and after dinner, they sing the song, chip the glasses and crack the plates, splint the knives and bend the forks. That's what Bilbo Baggins hates, smash the bottles and burn the corks. So there's this whole silly, very light song. The whole chapter has been light and whimsical, and then out of nowhere, it gets really serious, and they sing the song, and I'm just going to pick out 4 lines from the middle of it, but really the whole song is good. The 4 lines that I like are, far over the misty mountains cold, to dungeons keep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day, to claim our long-forgotten gold. The whole thing gives me chills, and just the kind of the tonal shift to something light and whimsical to something really serious, and you just get this amazing sense of like history, and something was stolen from the dwarves and we're going to go get it back. I mean, it gives me chills just thinking about it. If you haven't read The Hobbit, read The Hobbit. It's amazing. So anyway, that's the poetry that I like. Number 3, 42. The answer to life, the universe, and everything. What is the point? What is the meaning of life? Wow, this is heavy. I don't know. I'm sure, I should be quoting some philosopher or theologian. But for me, it's pretty simple. It's pretty immediate. Just take care of yourself. Take care of your family. And I think in life, it's just balance out responsibility with pleasure. Read good books, but don't neglect responsibilities. There's nothing too deep here. Sorry. Number 4, it's radio beginning. What is your favorite memory in your experiences as a listener to the radio? I think my favorite, driving around, the radio was always kind of on in the background. But my favorite memory is, I think it was when I was a kid, my mom maybe picking me up from school in the afternoons. They would have Paul Harvey would just come on for very short snippets. I'm assuming he had a longer radio show at some point, probably before my time. But I just remember him kind of before he died. He would have his little short, now you know the rest of the story segments where he would come on and give some fascinating story from history. It would be just a short little thing. And he would always end it with, now you know the rest of the story. So I like that. It's just a very strong memory I have riding in the car with my mom. Number 5, the towel. What book or books would you pack for a holiday? Well, it would always be the Kindle. But also, if I had to pack a book, probably a horror book. Maybe Stephen King. I mean, with horror, he's probably overread, but, it's always usually pretty satisfying. But honestly, I'd probably pick maybe something by Richard Lehman. I have a few physical Richard Lehman books. The one that I have my eye on, I think right now, I don't have a physical copy of it, but maybe The Island by Richard Lehman. He's great. I just love reading horror, especially schlocky horror, for summer reading. If it's the summer, I would go horror. But as I'm thinking about it out loud, if it's the winter, again, I'm adding answers just on the spot here. In the colder months, maybe World War II nonfiction, or maybe something fantasy. But if it's the summer, I'm going to go with Richard Lehman. Number 6, The Infinite Improbability Drive. Name a fast read. I'm going to go with the first book. It's a children's book, but the first book I ever read in one sitting. It's really, really short. I think most copies probably less than 100 pages. But I'm going to go with Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. I've mentioned this book before. It's the first book I ever sat down and read in one sitting when I was a kid. Number 7, Don't Panic. Name a book with great levels of tension or suspense. I'm going to go back to Richard Lehman. It's a book I read earlier this year. Very schlocky. I had a lot of fun with it, and it's In the Dark by Richard Lehman. There's many scenes that have great tension, but the scene that really got me, and I thought, man, this is really good. It's towards the beginning of the book. The main character, she's taking a shower. She's kind of fantasizing about this guy that she's just met. It's getting, she's alone in the shower. She likes the guy. You can imagine where her thoughts are starting to lead. And then she realizes that the door to her bathroom is open, and she always closes the door. And she should be alone in the house. Why is the bathroom door open? And it just, the scene is really, really good. It's very tense. And I recommend In the Dark by Richard Lehman. It's awesome. Number 8, TV and film adaptations. Pick a book to discuss one or more TV or film adaptations that you know of the book. Pick good and bad if it's relevant to the book. So the first thing that came to mind was actually Dracula, since I'm reading it now. But then I thought what I actually want to mention is it's a movie that I've loved for a really long time, and then I just recently this year finally read the book that it's based on. The book is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. Of course, the movie is Blade Runner. And I love both the book and the movie. They are different, but I think their differences complement each other. I've talked about this book before on the channel, I think maybe on a weekly reading report. But the main difference, there's many differences I could talk about, but the main difference that struck me, where it shows how the two works are different, but they just balance each other out. It's the androids in the book are very inhuman. They don't act like humans. Once you know it's an android, it's just, they don't seem like a human being. And it's interesting that Richard Deckard, it's pretty easy for him to dispatch the androids. They don't really pose much of a challenge. In the movie Blade Runner, they're different. The replicants are described as more human than human. They're very difficult to kill for Deckard. They have like super strength. But they also are very human-like. They act like humans. And in both stories, Deckard has a problem killing them. In the book, he has a problem retiring them, I should say, despite the fact that they're very inhuman. And in the movie, he has a problem with them because they're so human. They're more human than human. So that's very, very different. But those two ideas complement each other very much. And I like them both, the book and the movie. Number 9. Tag people. I'll go ahead and put some people down in the description. But if you're watching this and this sounds interesting, just consider yourself tagged. Do the tag. Let me know that you want to do the tag. But that's all for now. Thank you.